Hello, everyone. Welcome to Christopher's Entertainment Blog. I am your host, Chris. Welcome back to another video for the Arrow Season 3, Episode 8. This is the crossover episode. It is entitled The Bold and the Brave. Hello, everyone. The crossover episode is finally here. And man, what awesome crossover it was. I mean, with the Flash and now back on Arrow, and absolutely awesome crossover. I enjoyed it so much. I mean, I really didn't find any negatives. It was just pure great. I mean, it really was. I mean, I enjoyed it very much. And we see we see in the Flash episode and in this one, the Arrow is trying to find Digger Harkness, who is Captain Boomerang, and he's doing all these killings. We find out that in the episode, I think it was called "Draw Back Your Bow." I think at the end of that one, we've seen him like kill the guy at the end. Well, it turned out he was like an Argus agent or something, and we find out that Digger's or not Digger, but Diggle, Diggle's girlfriend. Lila, she ended up basically. I think she referred to that she actually something happened. I forget what exactly. Something went wrong, and she ended up detonating the chip inside the Suicide Squad in their brain. I think she referred to that she killed the Suicide Squad. So I mean, what does that mean? I mean, does that mean that Deadshot and all of them are actually all dead? I mean, and that Captain Boomerang is the only one that survived. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that, but he's the only one that survived. I mean, so he ends up coming back to kill Lila, and for that, and we see the Flash ends up coming to Starling City, much like Arrow was on in Central City. Now we see the help of the Flash coming in to save Lila and Arrow from almost getting hit by those boomerangs, and so he helped out a good bit. And we see Caitlin and we see Cisco, how they flew in because of on the Flash show, Felicity gave Caitlin a sample of some evidence or something that would help solve the murder of Sarah, and they were bringing that results back to her or something. So that's why they were in town, and then the Flash comes in and saves Oliver and saves Lila, and they end up hunting down Captain Boomerang in this episode, and we see some more. I love how they're getting even more camaraderie, like the whole gang. I mean, on the crossover episode with the Flash, we see everyone basically found out that Oliver Queen is the Arrow on that episode, and now they're all like working together, and now Caitlin and Cisco and Barry and everyone's down in the Arrow Cave. And they referred to this as the Arrow Cave in this episode, which I thought was hilarious, even though I think it's called like the Foundry or something. But I thought it was funny they referred to it as the Arrow Cave because I think everybody seems to refer to it as the Arrow Cave. So yeah, that was funny. I enjoyed that. But we see Barry Allen or the Flash, and we see Arrow working together, and we see a little bit of argument in this episode with Oliver having these methods that the Flash doesn't really agree with, the kind of like the torture interrogation part. He doesn't really agree with that, and we see they have different methods, different ways to go about it, and but in the end, they made up, and it was like, okay, well, whatever. And I think Barry kind of reminded Arrow that he's still Oliver Queen. There's still good in him. He can still do good. He doesn't have to do these methods if he doesn't really need to. But we see in the flashbacks, we see the flashbacks of how why he does that. I mean, how he was forced to do that. Amanda Waller forced him to like torture these guys for information, and we're seeing more backstory of how his mindset, the way it is now, about how Amanda Waller and Argus and the methods that they used with him in Hong Kong, to get where he's at. So, so that was very interesting. That was very interesting, the backstory. And also in this episode, we see more. The whole bad guy. The bad guys have been, they've been good. I've liked them, but I think Captain Boomerang has been the most like menacing looking. It seems like all these other ones are just like, we got him and no big deal. But it seems like Captain Boomerang was legitimately nasty. I mean, he was a badass dude, and it took the Flash and Arrow to work together to basically stop him, because we see at the end he had the 5 bombs around the city, and it took the Flash to basically everyone to cooperate to actually get these bombs. And in the end, they end up putting him away. He's on the island now with Slade Wilson. So, but it'd be interesting to see him again. I hope we see him again. I think Captain Boomerang was a pretty badass character, and I love it. I love the camaraderie we're getting with the Flash and Arrow, and even at the end, we see they made like a little stand for the suit for Barry, down in the Arrow cave if he needs to, basically hopefully come back again. So, great episode, guys. All around awesome, and the whole thing was just great. I mean, I really enjoyed it. One thing though I do remember is that on the Flash episode, we did see at the end how they showed the mother of the child for Oliver, his baby mama. So that's something they haven't touched on in a while, since I think last season they referenced that Oliver has a kid. And now they've touched on it again, just to remind people that it's still out there, and they let it simmer, they let it sit, and we probably won't hear that again probably until the end of the season, or maybe not even until the next season. I mean, who knows? But it's still out there, and it'll be interesting to see how they implement that. But that'll be for later time. I mean, that's something that's out there that they touched on. It was neat. That was a neat little thing. It was like, hey, we're still around with this story. We're developing, but it will develop later. But yeah, guys, I can't wait for next week's episode. It should be very, very interesting. But yeah, I really hope they do more of these crossovers, guys. I really, really do. I really enjoyed it, and I think overall, I think a lot of the fans really did enjoy it. From what I'm hearing, big rating numbers for both shows right now for the crossover episodes, and I hope they do more. I really do. And yeah, guys, but that's it for me. In the comments, write down in the comments, what you thought of this episode, anything that I missed. I mean, hey, comment below. And but it should be interesting to see how they continue to develop the story with Sarah. Who the killer is. We still got that lingering out there. But yeah, guys, crossover's already done, and more episodes to come. But that's it for me, guys. I am Chris for Christopher's Entertainment Blog. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.